What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. And this time we're taking a look at Saw 4. This is the final movie to be directed by Darren Lynn Bousman. And this movie is co-written by Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan. Now, Saw 4 follows the character of Daniel Rigg, played by Lyric Bent. Now, Daniel Rigg was a minor character in Saws 2 and 3. Now he takes center stage as he's being put through the test. So Daniel Rigg's whole thing is that he's somebody who is obsessed with constantly saving people. So his test is to pretty much learn is to pretty much learn from his obsession, which is that he can't save everybody. So that's his plot line. The other plot line follows these two FBI agents named Peter Strom and Lindsay Perez as they're pretty much on the hunt for a Jigsaw accomplice. Yes, this movie tells us that Jigsaw didn't have Amanda. There was another one. Yeah. So that's pretty much the basic overall plots of Saw 4. So let's talk about it. I actually, on rewatching Saw 4, I am not going to lie. I like Saw 4 on the same level as Saw 1. I thought this was actually good. Like, really good. I wasn't really expecting to like Saw 4 as much as I ended up liking Saw 4. I have problems with it here. I have some problems with it, of course, but overall, I thought Saw 4 is actually a pretty good installment to the franchise. First things first, the cast in this movie is really, really good. Lyric Bent, as I mentioned, he finally gets a chance to shine as the Daniel Rigg character, and I thought for the most part he handled being the lead. I thought he did a good job at being the lead. At Daniel Rigg, no, he really portrayed the quality of a man who genuinely wants to help as many people as he can to the point where it's an unhealthy obsession. And seeing the test that he has to go through, they're really ridiculous. They're really just off the wall. He has to. He comes into contact with a madam. He comes into contact with the serial rapist. He comes into contact of a woman who is being abused by her husband, and said husband is also abusing students, is also abusing his own daughter. So he has to come into contact with these despicable human beings, and he pretty much has to make the decision to put them. He pretty much has to not save them, and he has to let them save themselves, pretty much. While all the while, he's on an investigation try and to try and find Matthews, Detective Matthews, played by Donnie Wahlberg, which he eventually does, and I will get to that momentarily. But yeah, I think Riggs' whole plot line is actually really, really solid, and I enjoyed it for the most part. And I was also really liking the Peter Strom storyline as well. He's on this investigation to find the third Jigsaw accomplice, and I really enjoyed his scenes. The character of Jill Tuck is formally introduced in this movie as as John Kramer's ex-wife. We get more backstory filled in, and more importantly, we get motivation as to why John Kramer decided to become Jigsaw. So in these flashbacks, it's revealed to us that John and Jill were a very happily married couple. They were expecting their first child. Jill was working at a rehab clinic. One fateful night, this drug addict named Cecil accidentally, while robbing the drug clinic, accidentally causes Jill to have a miscarriage. Now, of course, this just destroys John's mentally destroys this man. In addition to having his only child, die from a miscarriage, he finds out he has cancer, and it's revealed that Dr. Gordon was the man who diagnosed him. And then he gets into a car accident. I don't know. The movie doesn't really specify exactly how much of a stretch of time all this takes place in. But when you see what happens to this guy, it's no wonder. It's no wonder he ends up becoming who he was. But these events are what kind of inspires John to appreciate the life that he has. And the character of this man named Cecil ends up becoming his first victim. So I like how we get all that, fleshed in, all that backstory put in. While all the while, there's the subplot of Daniel that's keep going on as he's trying to locate Detective Matthews. By association, while trying to find Detective Matthews, the character of Mark Hoffman is also being held captive by Jigsaw. So, yeah, I think for the most part, the movie juggles these two plot lines fairly well, for the most part. I think the stuff with Strom is just a little bit more stronger than the stuff with Rig, though. But I think they even out for the most part. It's fine. Uh, this movie does have some very questionable acting, particularly by the man who played Cecil. His entire torture scene, I don't know what he was going for. I mean, he's bound to a chair with spikes in his hand, and the actor is delivering his lines with no sense of like dread or fear. It's almost as if he just snorted 6 pounds of cocaine and is on like the world's biggest high, and he's so mellow about it. I wasn't really too keen on that. I thought that was kind of weak, to be honest with you. Uh, I'm not really a big fan of this movie pretty much taking place concurrently with Saw 3, which when you get to the end of the movie, it's revealed that this movie is being done concurrently with Saw 3. We get reintroduced to Jeff, who gets shot and killed by Agent Strom. Thank you, Strom, for killing Jeff, because Jeff is a complete dumbass, and he deserved to die after the stuff he did in Saw 3. And Rig, he finally makes it to the end, and the only thing Rig had to do was to not let his obsession consume him. If Rig would have not was not so obsessed with saving people, then Matthews would actually have survived this movie. But Rig, with just 1 second to spare, made it to Eric Matthews, and he gets his head smashed in with a bunch of ice blocks. While all the while, he shoots this man named Art, who we see at the beginning of the movie. Now, Art is also an important character because he is actually the lawyer of John Kramer, and he was actually the lawyer of the madam, the serial rapist, and the child abuser. So the character of Art kind of had a connection to all these other minor characters, and our main character, Jigsaw. He gets shot in the head, and then it's revealed that Hoffman, who was also being held captive throughout this entire movie, he was the accomplice all along, and we actually find out that this entire movie was being told to us in flashback because the beginning of the movie sees Hoffman in the morgue listening to a tape recorder, and at the end of the movie, it's pretty much revealed that this tape was meant for Hoffman, and that we were just basically seeing the events that led up to Hoffman getting the tape recorder and pretty much taking on the mantle of as the new Jigsaw, as Jigsaw's accomplice, pretty much. Well, all the while, Riggs is pretty much left for dead, bleeding, and he locks Agent Strom in the sick room from the third movie. And now, and that's pretty much how the movie ends. So yeah, all in all, I think it's pretty good. Again, the stuff with Rig was really really cool. I do not, but at the same time, Donnie Wahlberg as Eric Matthews. If the entire intention was just to kill him off, then you should have just killed him in Saw 3. Why did you bring him back if he's just going to die? And not only is he going to die, he dies unceremoniously. He just gets his head smashed with cinder blocks. He doesn't go out like a champ. He goes out like a bitch, to be honest with you. The lawyer character, listen, it is what it is. They needed a flimsy excuse to link everyone together. It's really forced and contrived, and it's a gimme that the movie wants you to give it, so it is what it is. Though I do like the whole thing of Hoffman being another accomplice, because you got to remember, a lot of these traps require a lot of physical strength. Now, Jigsaw is a cancer patient. His strength is very very limited. Amanda, she doesn't have she's not built like a brick shithouse. She's an average, she's an average height, average build human being. So you need someone with a little bit of brawn to do the heavy lifting. Hence, Detective Hoffman. So, I think all that was handled fine. I really like the interrogation scenes with Strom and Jill, which is where a lot of the backstory gets fleshed out. And the backstory stuff is what I really find interesting. Just seeing Jigsaw slash John Kramer's motivation to do what he does. That to me was the most intriguing part. Just getting his backstory filled in, and I actually would not mind seeing a entire movie dedicated just to John Kramer's origins. To be honest with you, I think an origin movie should have been the second movie. But that's just me personally. So yeah, overall, despite a couple of things I didn't really care for, which is Detective Matthews just being killed off, making his character to me entirely pointless. The character of Cecil having really bad acting. uh, and a couple of other things here and there. I think this is a solid movie. I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10. I like this on par with the first movie, though I think the first movie is much more better constructed. I think this movie, while I and do enjoy, it does have things like I don't like. Like there's a couple of visual cues that just are Caesar inducing, and that's that really choppy editing that I've never been a fan of. But overall, I think it was a solid final effort by Darren Lynn Bousman. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for Saw 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.